guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Carly and I am new here to YouTube, so please show my channel some love and hit the subscribe button. I think it's going to be right here, but maybe, it could be anywhere. But jumping straight into the video. So before talking about the symptoms before the big fat positive or the symptoms during the 2-week wait, I wanted to talk a little bit about my menstrual cycle because it was irregular before getting pregnant. So I stopped taking birth control in May of 2016, which was about 7 years after I had started birth control. So I was on birth control for 7 years, and it was about 8-ish months before I conceived. So if that gives you a little bit of background, I did keep up with my period on this app called the Period Tracker, this app right here, or it's called P Tracker Lite. I did keep it up with it on there because I knew going into getting off birth control, which my decision to stop birth control was literally just out of a whim. I just was like, you know what? I ran out of pills this month, forgot to go get a new pack. I'm just going to stop and see how that journey goes. So that was kind of off of, just because. But I did start keeping up with my period, and just a little background on my cycle because it was not normal, even up until I conceived. Let's see. My cycle went from a 43-day cycle to 50, 36, 40, 31, 39, then I got pregnant. So it was never consistent, but I will say towards the end, the period tracker was quite accurate on when it thought I was going to start my period, and my last cycle, it was dead on because we did some baby making on the day it said I was going to ovulate. It just happened to be that we were on vacation, so we weren't trying to conceive, but it happened. So I was kind of charting my symptoms. Well, there's my dog. So say hello, Molly. Oh, and you can't see her, but she's kind of like putting her paw on another dog right now. I have 3 dogs in this house, so if you hear anything, that's what you're hearing. But I was tracking my symptoms after ovulation. That's just kind of what my gynecologist told me to do, just because my period was so off track, and she thought it would kind of put my mind at ease if I could get more in tune with my body and kind of figure out what my symptoms were going to be like in between periods. So that's what I was doing. So on the month I conceived, so getting into my symptoms during my 2-week wait, let's see. I'm just going off of my little period tracker because it was super simple to log your symptoms. You just hit the plus sign at the top right here and just kind of like put your symptoms in, and you can also put notes in. So going based off that, 1 day past ovulation or the day I conceived, I'm not really positive when I ovulated in my fertile window, but I know the day I conceived for sure. So I'm just gonna pretend that was the day I ovulated, which was 3 days after the first day of my last period. So this cycle would have been about 37 days long. So 1 day after I ovulated or conceived, my only symptom was I feel like I peed myself. So my cervical mucus is the term I think you're supposed to use, was like super heavy. Like I literally felt like I peed myself. And then the next day, I just put that I had light cramps. And then the next day is when those like real symptoms that were like weird for me hit. So I said I felt a little pukish when a baby spit up. So I work with kids. I work in and out of homes and daycares every day with kids with developmental delays and special needs. And this day I was working with a little boy, and we were playing with cups. And we were kind of working on like stacking them or hitting them or crawling towards them. And he flipped one over and was kind of like chewing on it. He was teething and he spit up in it. And normally things like that do not hit my gag reflex. But oh my gosh, I almost threw up. And I was like, that's not normal for me. But it was a lot of spit up. So, it could have been normal. Well, hello dog. Scoot that over. I also said, again, like light cramps and back aches. And also, goodness, I don't think y'all can see her, but she keeps like pushing the pillow on me. But the other symptom I said was tender breast, and I would not describe, that's just kind of the option my app gave me, but I wouldn't describe my breast as tender, more as like full, that's not something I had ever had before. So now getting on to, let's see, 4 days past ovulation, I said I felt like I peed myself again. So that discharge and cervical mucus still hadn't really calmed down. It was still just kind of like TMI, but it was kind of like gushing. Like I just kind of, like it wasn't like a constant flow. It was just kind of like a gush. Oh, I hate that word, every now and then. And then this was the day that my acne got out of control. I woke up with like a full face of like cystic acne, which I always get. Well, there she is. I always get I always get like one cystic acne spot flare up before my period comes, but this was like 2 weeks before my period came, which wasn't normal. And to have that many, and especially like right here, that's not normal for me. Mine is always in this little hormonal chin spot. So I felt like that was kind of weird. The next day, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days past ovulation, I had two kind of bizarre things. So I kept having super vivid dreams, and they weren't anything, like I've been told that vivid dreams before pregnancy is kind of normal, but that you would be dreaming about like water or pregnancy or fish or, you know, just kind of like that kind of stuff. Mine were always about like ex-boyfriends or like killing people. I don't know. I was having weird dreams. And I remembered them when I woke up. And I was also waking up in the middle of the night a lot and like tossing and turning. And then the other one that was weird is that I said the dogs kept smelling my belly. That's what I wrote. This dog over here that keeps making an appearance in the video, she's like super attached to me. She follows me and sits next to me when I take a bath. She follows me to the bathroom. She follows me everywhere. But every time she followed me places, she would like keep her nose in my belly button. She was like obsessed with it. And I was like, she must know something's up. All right, the next day, I again said that I had vivid dreams, that my throat kind of hurt on the right side, but my ear was also hurting on the left side, which I think I was kind of like getting like a little, maybe an ear infection. I don't know. So that might not have been pregnancy related. And that I was super moody. Like, I remember this day exactly. I was driving home from work, so I get off at 5, and that's about the time the sun's setting, and I have to drive 2 exits on the highway to get home. Well, I live in South Carolina, and I have to drive 85, so if anybody's from around this area, you understand that there's traffic. And the traffic that day, the sun was setting in my face, so I'm pretty short, so like I had to like keep like adjusting myself. And I was like, people don't know how to drive today. The traffic is horrible, and it was making me so mad. And I got home, and I was like, you know what? I'm just so mad I'm gonna sleep. And I literally woke up the next morning at like 11 o'clock. So I went to sleep at like 6-ish and woke up the next day at like 11 o'clock. I was so tired, and I'm a napper. Like I don't fall asleep at 6 and wake up at 11. I would have usually fell asleep at 6 and maybe nap for an hour. So you could tell that at that time I was not only moody, but I was exhausted. And then the next day was kind of the same thing. I was having vivid dreams. I was like super ADD, which I feel like I still am. But like I couldn't like keep my mind on one thing, and I kept forgetting things. And I again had tender breasts, but this time they were actually more tender than they were full. So like at first I was feeling that they were just like heavy and full. Now they were kind of hurting more in like my armpit area. And that I was super hungry. And this is the day I also felt like I might have had whatever you would call it, implanted in me. Ooh, the sun. Because I got like this weird, like it felt like I had a kidney stone pain right above my left hip. And it didn't last for very long, but it was super painful for like maybe 30 minutes, and then it went away. And then it kind of came back and it went away. Like it was just like twingy. So this is the day I think I had implantation, which would be a week after I think I conceived. So that could be normal. I was also really cold on that day, and I did a little bit of research, and supposedly right before you have implantation, your basal body temperature goes down. So I don't know if that had anything to do with me being cold, but I'm not normally cold. So I thought that was weird. All right, so the day after I think I had implantation, most of my symptoms went away. So I was like, you know what? There's nothing. I'm not pregnant. But I kind of felt like I was pregnant, but I was like, no, now I'm not having any symptoms. Those must have just been like post-ovulation symptoms I was having. But other than that, like I didn't really have symptoms, except I was kind of like super gassy, and this is TMI again, but my poop smelled horrible. Like horrible, like unbearably horrible. So I was like, you know what? My period's probably coming. And this was like a week before my period would have been coming anyway. So I was like, That's probably it. I was also super emotional, which is a very normal PMS symptom for me. Like, I cried watching every show I watched that day. The next one was funny. I wrote on my little symptoms, I was 30 minutes early for work. And the people, if any of the people who I work with watch this video eventually, y'all will know that I'm always late for work, never early for work. So that was kind of funny. And I also said that I kind of felt like cold sores were coming up around my lips. So I haven't gotten a cold sore, or, the bumps that you get on your lips. I haven't gotten those in like 3 years. But like, I kind of felt like there was like 3 popping up on my lips. They never officially made their appearance, but I kind of felt like they were. And then the next day, again, I had vivid dreams. I started having food aversions. I had to wake up to pee. My skin started getting super dry, which is not normal for me. It's usually greasy. And then I said I peed 4 times before 1 o'clock. Let's see. And then I was a little anxious, but that was all that day. And then the next day, which was Wednesday. So I found out I was pregnant on Saturday. So Wednesday, I woke up and felt like I had started my period. Like, when I feel like I start my period, I get this pain, like, you can't really see it, but I get it like right, but like in the lower abdomen region. It just feels like heavy. And I kind of woke up feeling like that. But this was the day that I could take a pregnancy test with an early pregnancy test, like the first response 6 days before your missed period. This was the day that I felt like maybe it would show up if I was pregnant. So I decided on this day to take a pregnancy test, and it came up negative, and I was super sad about it. But at the same time, I was like, you know what, we aren't trying to conceive. But I just kind of felt like it would be like, you know what, you felt pregnant this whole time. You were right. But I was wrong. It came out negative, so I was a little discouraged, and just kind of like blew it off. And from that point on, I kept charting my symptoms, but didn't think I was pregnant because it said negative, and I thought that wasn't too soon. So then on the day after that, so that Thursday, I woke up with like a stuffy nose on the right side, which I'm always stuffy and sinusy on my left, but never on my right. And I had started getting acne again, and I was back to being moody, like super moody, which PMS, that's what happens. But I mean, it was pretty intense moodiness. And then a day before I had a positive, I had 0 symptoms. 0. Didn't feel like I was going to start my period. Didn't feel like I was pregnant. Literally 0 symptoms. But that night me and the dad we made some love, and he went to feel my boobs. This is probably TMI again, but I feel like these are symptoms that other people might feel. And when he grabbed my boobs, like, it was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life, boob-wise. And I actually do have implants, so I've felt some pretty bad pain before. But it was a weird feeling. It was just like, I don't know. But I had breast tenderness is what I'm trying to get to, and it was really bad, and I never get it this bad, and that's not a normal period symptom for me. So I woke up that next morning, and I decided I was going to take a test again. I was supposed to start my period that morning. It was a Saturday, and I hadn't started when I woke up, and that's normally when my period comes, is I wake up and it's there, and I hadn't started. And actually, my boyfriend was at work, so I was home alone, and I had 3 tests left. I took 3 tests that day, and the first one literally peed on it. I was just like, this is not going to be positive. There's no way it's going to be positive. And so I kind of like walked away from it. I came back, and it was a faint positive. So then that was on a red first response test. So then I took 2 digital tests after that. They were both, if you were pregnant, they would say yes. They both said yes. Which usually for digital tests, you have to have a really like high little level of HCG. I think that's the hormone that makes the test turn positive. They're like the pregnancy hormone. Don't quote me, I'm not a doctor. But usually, if you're not like, if it's not on the day that you should test, the day of your missed period or the day after, they might not be accurate. But it said yes, like almost immediately. So yeah, that's my symptoms before the big fat positive. I'll go on with my symptoms after the big fat positive on a later video. And honestly, I think I'm going to try to upload videos twice a week or once a week, and just kind of do weekly updates of my pregnancy, and like reviews and hauls and vlogs, and kind of, I have a lot of things recently, I think I'm 5 weeks pregnant. I'm not quite positive, but I'll get into that on my next video. But recently we've been dealing with a lot of insurance issues, which I also want to hit on my next video, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, I'm not quite positive when I'll upload, so there is a notification bell. I would hit that if you want to continue on with my journey with me. And just a little precursor, I am filming this in February, but I will not be uploading it until probably around April. So if you're watching this, and I had just uploaded it, you're watching it in April. I filmed it in February because I didn't want to film this and upload it immediately, and then either something happen or friends and family find this, like stumble upon it on YouTube and be like, what, you're pregnant? You didn't tell me? So I'm waiting to upload this until after I tell all my friends, family, people I work with, all of that. But I enjoyed making this video, and I hope you enjoyed watching it, and I hope you subscribe and continue to keep up with this pregnancy with me. I can't wait to look back on this after this child is born and a toddler and be like, wow, I've grown so much since then, hopefully is what I say. But give this video a thumbs up if you loved it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!